We're now joined by Charlotte Gutman, who is the Deputy Leader here of the Jewish community in Brussels. It's great to be joining you. Again, Charlotte, we're here for the ECI conference, which is really designed to generate support and encouragement for Israel and the Jewish people. How important do you feel it's for Christians to get behind the Jewish community here in Brussels and across Europe?
I think it's very important and very crucial today. That's why, as the president of ORT in Belgium, an NGO, non-sectarian NGO in education and vocational training, I decided to take a stand at the Festival of Peace that was organized by Jews and Christians together. And it was an amazing day of gospel atmosphere and Israeli dances and songs. And it was beautiful to see this strong relationship that we have as Judeo-Christian area that we live in. So I am a big fan of this cooperation, and I think dramatically today we need it as Jewish people and to protect Israel in a way also.
And what do you think of the current situation Israel finds itself in today? I mean, 3 Israelis have been killed by Hamas rockets and missiles fired from Gaza. What do you make of the current situation?
Well, you know, my subject are the misleading words. And so we have to observe provocation on one side and on the other side a response. Once you cannot refrain from giving a response because it's out of limit. 120 rockets were sent yesterday in a day from Gaza to Israeli cities. So I did ask the representative of Lady Ashton now, how many rockets need to be sent on Israeli cities to justify an official reaction by the EU? I'm sure that if there would be 1 rocket sent here inside Belgium from one city to the other, there would never be a second one.
And why do you think we haven't got a reaction from the European Union in response to this barrage of rockets attacks that have been fired on vulnerable Jewish communities in southern Israel?
Why? I mean, it's I don't know what they are waiting for, but it's very scary to see the lack of reaction, because it looks like, and the Israelis also feel like that, is that it's a unique case in the world. Only with this little territory will there be such a behavior towards Israelis and their citizens, and the lack of respect in a way for what they are, normal civilians. And the provocation that leads into responses are misleading in a way because the press will report about it like victims on one side, the provokers, and aggressors on the other side, just the ones who cannot refrain from reacting any longer and who are considered as aggressors. And they are trying to defend their citizens and their territory.
I mean, when we've seen probably mainstream media reporting on the current incident that's taking place in Israel, and particularly Israel's conflict with Hamas, sadly it's only become a news story now that the Israelis have actually retaliated to the barrage of missile attacks. Do you think there is a danger in misleading reporting and coverage of this conflict that can actually escalate and lead to a rise of anti-Semitism across Europe? It's
linked. It has been linked for years, and it will be linked for the future as well. And we have to live with it. We cannot say what's going to be, but for sure it's linked.
Okay. Charlotte Gutman, thank you for joining us today. We're now joined by Rhea Kalanova, who is the Deputy Secretary General of the European Jewish Congress. You attended this very important, significant conference organised by the European Coalition for Israel, and you spoke very powerfully about the rise of anti-Semitism and the fear within the Jewish communities here in Brussels. How real is that fear of anti-Semitism in Europe?
As I explained today, what is happening now with the rise of anti-Semitism, so many years after the end of the Second World War, it is really sad, but it is a fact. And the fact is, as I explained today during the conference, is it normal for a citizen of one of the most progressive, democratic European country as Belgium to go around the city freely and not to be able to enter a Jewish school or a synagogue without being checked, without seeing all these people heavily armed, police, cameras. We only one minority, Jewish minority in Europe, that experience this kind of feeling. You can go to a church, you can go to a university, to a Catholic school, whatever, without any fear and without any security. Because that means all this heavy security around Jewish institutions, that means that governments take this seriously, that they know that there is a danger. And we have to protect our kids that ask us why other kids are not protected, why around our schools there are all these heavy armed soldiers. And I think that we cannot sleep quietly until this phenomenon doesn't stop. We would also like to enter our Jewish institutions without fear.
Absolutely. And how do you feel here attending this conference, knowing there are so many Christians that are standing in solidarity with Israel and the Jewish people across Europe at this time?
I told already today to Thomas Sandel when I thanked him for inviting me, I had such a wonderful feeling today. You know, I came here tired, sad, had some difficult encounters today, and I felt like a wave of positive energy just around me, of so many friends looking at me with friendly eyes, and I thought to myself, we will overcome. It will be okay, because we have so many wonderful friends in the Christian community of Europe and all around the world, that we will overcome. Because I met people who realize that the problems that Jews feel are problems of all democratic countries, of all democratic populations, that all the problems in history very often began with Jews. But after, other populations suffered, and maybe even more. During the war, we know that 6 million Jews perished, but how many non-Jews perished? Much more. The figures are powerful and talk for themselves. Tens of millions perished, and that is why this solidarity and this comprehension of the problems, I had a wonderful feeling today, and I have no words to thank all our Christian friends for this solidarity and for this friendship.
Thank you very much. Thank you.